Feeling weaker, even though your labs say you're normal? What if the problem isn't protein or exercise, but 7 silent nutrients your doctor rarely mentions? Today I'm exposing the microheroes, K2, magnesium, B6, EB1, B12, and D3, that could flip the switch on strength, energy, and nerve health after 60. Here's the crazy part. Studies show adults over 55 are more likely to be deficient in K2 than in calcium. Yet everyone keeps pushing milk. And magnesium? It builds more muscle protein than steak, but 80% of seniors fall short. Why hasn't anyone told us? If cramps, wobbling knees, or that afternoon energy crash sound familiar, stick around. In the next minutes, you'll learn the exact doses, food sources, and timing tricks to refill these 7 gaps and feel the difference within weeks, without adding another prescription. Smash the like button, subscribe, ring the bell, and drop a comment so you don't miss the full breakdown. And share this with a friend who's tired of feeling tired. 1. The hidden vitamin most seniors never consider, vitamin K2. All right, let's kick things off with a vitamin that almost everyone overlooks, yet it could be the master key to unlocking strength you thought was gone for good. For decades, we've been told to focus on calcium for strong bones. But what if that's only half the story? Imagine calcium is a fleet of delivery trucks in your body. Without a dispatcher, those trucks can cause traffic jams and pile up in all the wrong places. Vitamin K2 is that dispatcher. It's the biological GPS that tells calcium exactly where to go, into your bones and teeth. When K2 is missing, that calcium gets lost and deposits in your soft tissues. It hardens your artery walls, which restricts blood flow. When your leg muscles don't get enough oxygen-rich blood, they become stiff, weak, and prone to those agonizing cramps that jolt you awake in the middle of the night. This isn't just a theory. Consider the story of Elian, a 75-year-old former fencer from Liège, Belgium. He'd always been agile, but he started suffering from severe leg weakness and pain. His doctors were concerned when an ultrasound revealed significant calcification in the arteries leading to his legs, restricting blood flow. It wasn't until he stumbled upon the famous Rotterdam study from the Netherlands that he had his light bulb moment. That massive, decade-long study of over 4,800 adults showed that participants with the highest intake of K2 had dramatically lower rates of arterial calcification. Elian realized his healthy diet was practically devoid of K2. You see, K2 isn't found in salads like its cousin, K1. It's created by bacteria during fermentation. The richest source on Earth is a Japanese breakfast food called natto, fermented soybeans. It's a major reason why elderly populations in parts of Japan maintain incredible bone density and leg strength well into their 80s and 90s. If natto isn't for you, you can also find good amounts in specific aged cheeses like Gouda and Brie, as well as the yolks of eggs from pasture-raised chickens. So, here's a critical question to ask yourself. Are you guiding your calcium, or is it running wild in your body? The presence or absence of K2 could be the single biggest factor determining whether your legs feel strong and stable or stiff and weak. But here's a dangerous paradox. There's a vitamin that many of us take daily, often recommended by doctors for bone health. Yet, without enough K2 to act as its guide, this very vitamin can actually speed up the process of calcium ending up in the wrong places. What is this common vitamin that could be working against you? We'll get into that next. 2. The muscle-building mineral nobody talks about, magnesium. We've talked about how vitamin K2 acts like a traffic cop for calcium, and that's a game changer. But what if your body's fundamental electrical system is running low on power? What if the master switch for relaxation is stuck in the on position? This is where magnesium comes in, and for up to 80% of adults over 60, the power is dangerously low. Think of magnesium not as a spark plug, but as the brake pedal for your entire nervous system. Your body uses other signals to say go, go, go. That's your gas pedal. But magnesium is what allows your muscles to release, your mind to quiet down, and your system to relax. Without enough of it, you're stuck with the gas pedal pushed down. Your muscles stay tense, your mind races at night, and you feel perpetually wound up. This isn't just getting older. It's a specific deficiency with a clear solution. Let me tell you about Arthur, a 72-year-old retired accountant. For decades, his job was deadline after deadline, a high-stress environment. In retirement, he expected to finally relax, but he couldn't. He had heart palpitations that sent him to a cardiologist, who, after extensive tests, found nothing wrong and chalked it up to anxiety. He suffered from a stiff neck, nightly leg cramps, and a mind that wouldn't shut off, making sleep a distant memory. He tried sleeping pills, but they just left him feeling groggy and disconnected the next day. The real culprit wasn't a heart condition or a psychological issue. It was the ghost of his past stress. Decades of high cortisol, the stress hormone, had been flushing magnesium out of his body through his kidneys. His body's brake pedal was worn down to nothing. Once he understood this connection and started supplementing, the change was remarkable. Within a few weeks, the heart flutters eased, the cramps disappeared, and he was finally sleeping peacefully through the night. But here is the most important part of Arthur's story. He used the right type of magnesium. Walking into a pharmacy can be confusing. The bottle that says magnesium on the front isn't always the one you need. They are not all created equal. The most common and cheapest form is magnesium oxide. Think of this as a bowel mover. It's very poorly absorbed by your body, so its main effect is pulling water into your intestines. It's effective for short-term constipation, but it's not going to fix your sleep or muscle cramps. A better option is magnesium citrate. It's well absorbed and a good general-purpose choice. However, for some people, it can still have a mild laxative effect, so you may need to start with a low dose. For relaxation, sleep, and calming an anxious mind, the gold standard is magnesium glycinate. Here, the magnesium is attached to glycine, an amino acid that itself has a calming effect on the brain. This form is gentle on the stomach and is your best choice for tackling the symptoms Arthur experienced. Finally, there's magnesium malate. Malate is involved in your body's energy production cycles. If your main complaints are muscle soreness, tenderness, and daytime fatigue, this is an excellent form to consider. So, do a quick check-in with your own body. Do you have a persistent little twitch in your eyelid? Do you suffer from cramps in your calves or feet, especially at night? Do you feel tense and unable to fully relax, even when you have nothing to do? Do you crave dark chocolate? These are all whispers from your body that its brake pedal is failing. Addressing a magnesium deficiency isn't a minor tweak. It's about restoring a fundamental sense of calm and comfort to your body and mind, allowing you to truly enjoy the peace you've earned. 3. The forgotten B vitamin that prevents muscle wasting, B6. When we talk about B vitamins for healthy aging, B12 gets all the attention for its role in energy and nerve health. But there's another B vitamin, its often overlooked sibling, that is arguably just as critical for your physical strength and independence. This is vitamin B6, and it's the master architect for your muscles. Think of it this way. You eat a protein-rich meal, like grilled chicken or a bowl of lentils. Your body sees this protein not as ready-to-use muscle fuel, but as a locked warehouse full of building materials. Vitamin B6 is the master key. It's a crucial cofactor in a process called transamination, which is the scientific way of saying it unlocks and reassembles those protein-building blocks, the amino acids, to repair and build your muscle tissue. Without enough of this key, the valuable protein you eat can't be put to work effectively. But here is the critical twist that most people, and even many doctors, miss. It's not always about how much B6 you eat. The B6 in your food, and in most standard supplements, is in an inactive form. Your body must convert it into its active form, called pyridoxal 5-phosphate or P5P, before it can be used. And there's a hidden saboteur that stops this process cold: inflammation. The low-grade, chronic inflammation that often accompanies aging, perhaps from arthritis or other conditions, releases compounds that block the very enzyme needed to activate vitamin B6. So, you can be swallowing B6 capsules every day, but if your body can't flip that switch to P5P, your muscles are still being starved. The consequences are serious. A landmark study, the Framingham Offspring Study, found that older adults with low levels of active B6 had double the risk of suffering a fall. This isn't a coincidence. It's a direct link from a functional nutrient deficiency to muscle weakness and instability. Consider the story of Eleanor, a 75-year-old pianist. Her passion was playing Chopin, but she noticed her fingers becoming weaker, unable to command the keys with their former precision. She was eating a healthy diet and even taking a daily B-complex vitamin, yet the weakness progressed. Her doctors were puzzled. Finally, a specialist looked deeper and tested her inflammation markers. They were elevated. He realized she had a functional B6 deficiency. The inflammation was preventing her body from converting the B6 she was taking into the active P5 her muscles needed. Once this was addressed, she didn't just feel a little better. She regained the dexterity she thought was lost forever. Her body finally had the right key to rebuild the intricate muscles in her hands. So, this might lead you to ask a different kind of question. If you've ever felt a growing weakness or stiffness despite trying to eat right, it might be worth considering if the problem isn't what you're putting in, but what your body is actually able to use. For the antioxidant powerhouse, vitamin E. When you hear vitamin E, you probably think of one thing: skin cream. It's been marketed for decades as the secret to a youthful glow. But its most profound, life-changing benefit has almost nothing to do with your skin and everything to do with the power in your legs. Here's the secret that gets lost in the marketing. Vitamin E isn't a single substance. It's a family of 8 different compounds, like a team of specialists. The problem is, most common supplements and fortified foods only give you one member of this team, a form called alpha-tocopherol. But the real powerhouses for your muscles are a lesser-known group called the tocotrienols. Why does this matter so much? Imagine your muscle cells are high-performance engines. As they burn fuel to help you walk, climb stairs, or just get up from a chair, they produce a damaging byproduct. This process, called oxidative damage, is like cellular rust. It degrades the very walls of your muscle cells, making them weak and inefficient. This is a primary reason why our muscles weaken and ache more as we age. The tocotrienols are uniquely built to stop this rust. Their structure allows them to move with incredible speed and agility inside the cell membrane, neutralizing those damaging molecules far more effectively than their common tocopherol cousins. This isn't just a theory. A study in the journals of gerontology found a direct link between higher levels of the full vitamin E family and physical performance in older adults. Those with robust levels of all 8 compounds showed significantly better leg strength and mobility. Consider the story of Silas, a 70-year-old retired carpenter. His passion was mountain biking, but he was about to give it up. After tackling his favorite local trail, a steep climb nicknamed Widowmaker's Hill, he would be so sore he could barely walk for 2 days. He thought his cycling days were over. A nutritionist pointed out that the cheap vitamin E he was taking was only synthetic alpha-tocopherol. He switched to a full-spectrum supplement containing mixed natural forms, including tocotrienols. The change was remarkable. Within a month, that debilitating post-ride soreness was gone. He felt a resilience in his legs he hadn't experienced in a decade. He wasn't just protecting his muscles, he was restoring their ability to recover. This highlights a critical trap. The synthetic vitamin E in many cheap multivitamins, often labeled DL-alpha-tocopherol, is poorly used by the body. Worse, taking it alone can actually deplete your body's precious stores of the other crucial forms, like the tocotrienols. To get the real benefit, you need the whole family. You can find these full-spectrum forms in nature, particularly in foods like annatto, red palm oil, and wheat germ. So, the next time you feel that ache or fatigue in your legs, remember the rust. Protecting your muscles isn't just about exercise, it's about defending them at a cellular level. By ensuring you get the entire vitamin E family, you're not just slowing down the clock. You're giving your body the fundamental tools it needs to recover, rebuild, and carry you forward with strength and confidence. 5. The energy catalyst you're missing. Vitamin B1, thiamine. All right, we've covered the materials to build and protect your muscles. But even the best-built engine is useless without a spark. What if you have plenty of fuel in the tank, but the system to ignite that fuel is failing? This is exactly what can happen in your body when you're low on vitamin B1, also known as thiamine. Think of thiamine as the spark plug for every single cell. It's the tiny, essential trigger that allows your body to turn the food you eat, especially carbohydrates, into the raw energy your muscles need to move. Without enough thiamine, it doesn't matter how well you eat, you can feel utterly drained and weak because the fuel is never actually ignited. So why might you be running low on this vital spark as you get older? It's often not just about your diet. A few common culprits are quietly working behind the scenes. First, many of us take diuretics or water pills for blood pressure. These medications do their job, but they also cause your body to flush out important vitamins like thiamine. Second, even a moderate, regular alcohol intake makes it much harder for your body to absorb and use it. But here's a hidden trap many people don't realize. A diet high in refined carbohydrates, things like white bread, pasta, rice, and sugary snacks, demands a huge amount of thiamine to be processed. The more of these foods you eat, the more thiamine you burn through, creating a potential shortage without you even knowing it. Let me tell you about James, a 72-year-old retired carpenter who was always proud of his strength. Lately, though, he felt like his power had been cut. Getting up from his favorite armchair was a monumental effort, and his legs felt heavy and weak, as if the batteries were dead. He was frustrated and started avoiding activities he once loved. His doctor, instead of just blaming it on age, looked at his medications and saw he'd been on a water pill for years. The diagnosis wasn't just getting old. It was a classic thiamine deficiency. After starting a thiamine supplement, James said it was like someone flipped the power switch back on. Within a week, he felt that familiar strength returning to his legs. Now, if your weakness is accompanied by nerve issues like tingling, numbness, or burning in your feet, there's a special form of B1 called benfotiamine that could be a real game changer. Here's the simple difference. Regular thiamine is water-soluble, meaning your body uses it quickly and flushes out the rest. Benfotiamine is fat-soluble. This allows it to soak deep into your nerve cells and stay there longer, providing a steady, targeted stream of energy right where it's needed most to help calm those irritated nerves. So take a moment and think about your own body. When you stand up, walk across the room, or climb a few stairs, do your legs feel heavy, weak, or just plain out of gas? It might not be just your age. It could be a sign that your cellular spark plugs are failing. Ensuring you have enough of this fundamental energy vitamin can be one of the simplest, yet most powerful steps you can take to put the spring back in your step and feel truly powered through your day. 6. The nerve protector, vitamin B12. Now, what if I told you that some of the scariest parts of getting older, like feeling unsteady on your feet, having brain fog, memory lapses, or a weakness that makes you feel 100 years old, might not be aging at all? What if they were signs of a simple nutrient shortage that, once fixed, could feel like turning the clock back a decade? This is the reality for many people when it comes to vitamin B12. Think of B12 as the protective coating on every nerve in your body. It's like the rubber insulation on the electrical wiring that connects your brain to every muscle. When that insulation wears thin, the signals get scrambled. Your brain says move, but the message that reaches your legs is weak and garbled. The result can be trembling, poor balance, and a deeply frustrating loss of coordination. Here's the cruel twist. The very process of aging makes it harder to get B12 from your food. To absorb B12 from things like meat, fish, or eggs, your stomach needs to produce strong acid to unlock the vitamin from the protein it's attached to. After age 60, our stomach acid production naturally goes down, sometimes by a lot. This means you can be eating a perfect diet, rich in B12, but the vitamin just passes right through your system completely unused. Let me tell you about Leland, an 82-year-old retired engineer who had become confined to a wheelchair. His family was told he had rapidly progressing dementia. He was confused, weak, and had lost all confidence in his ability to even stand up. But a sharp physical therapist working with him noticed something. Leland's symptoms, the specific way his balance was off and his legs were weak, looked exactly like classic nerve damage, not just dementia. At the therapist's urging, his family pushed for a more specific kind of B12 test. It didn't just measure the amount of B12 in his blood, it measured if his body could actually use it. The results showed a severe functional deficiency. After a course of high-dose B12 injections, the change was incredible. Within weeks, the fog in his mind began to clear. Within 2 months, Leland was not only out of his wheelchair, but was walking with a cane in his garden, his balance and strength returning day by day. He didn't reverse aging. He corrected a deficiency that was masquerading as it. Leland's story highlights a critical point. Standard blood tests can be misleading. They often measure the total B12 in your blood, but not whether your cells can actually use it. This is why a functional deficiency is missed so often. You can have a normal B12 level on paper while your nerves are starving. It's also important to know that not all B12 supplements are the same. The most common, cheapest form is called cyanocobalamin. It's a synthetic version that your body has to convert into the active form, which is called methylcobalamin. As we get older, our bodies get less efficient at this conversion process. Methylcobalamin, on the other hand, is the bioactive form. It's ready to go to work immediately, helping to repair those nerve coatings and restore communication. It's the difference between being handed a block of wood to carve your own key and just being handed the key itself. The stories and science we've discussed all point to one powerful truth. So much of what we've been taught to accept as just getting older is not a mandatory sentence. It's often a sign that our body is missing a specific tool it needs to function well. By understanding what your body truly needs, whether it's for energy, nerve function, or muscle strength, you can stop simply managing decline and start actively rebuilding your health. The power to write a healthier, stronger next chapter is truly in your hands. 7. The master switch, vitamin D3. Now that we've covered the individual instruments in our orchestra of strength, let's talk about the conductor, the one that tells the entire system when to play. Imagine a master switch for your muscles, a nutrient that doesn't just do one job, but directly instructs hundreds of processes in your body to fire up and work in harmony. This is the power of vitamin D3. When most people hear vitamin D, they immediately think of bone health. That's like saying a car's engine is only there to make noise. The truth is, its role in bone health is secondary to its primary function. It's more accurate to think of vitamin D as a prohormone, a master key that unlocks your genetic code. When it enters your cells, it communicates directly with your DNA, activating over 1,000 genes. Many of these genes are the literal blueprints for how your muscles contract, repair themselves, and grow stronger. Without enough D3, those blueprints remain locked away, gathering dust. This isn't a slow, gradual process. The speed at which this works can be astonishing. In one landmark study, researchers gave a group of older adults with low vitamin D levels a single, high dose. The results weren't subtle, and they didn't take months. Within days, the participants showed significant improvements in muscle function and a dramatic drop in their risk of falling. This wasn't about building new muscle from scratch. It was about waking up the muscle they already had, making it faster, more responsive, and more powerful. Consider the story of Silas, a 79-year-old retired watchmaker. His life's passion was threatened not by pain, but by a fine, uncontrollable tremor in his hands. The same hands that could once handle the tiniest of gears could no longer be trusted. His doctors called it an inevitable part of aging. But one specialist ran a full nutrient panel and found his vitamin D level was critically low. They started him on a protocol to optimize it. The transformation was remarkable. It wasn't that his hands got stronger in a brute force way. The precision came back. The tremor subsided. The D3 had reestablished the delicate communication line between his brain and the fine muscle fibers in his hands. He was able to return to his workbench, not because his muscles were bigger, but because they were finally receiving the right signals to work with precision. However, activating this powerful switch comes with one non-negotiable rule. Vitamin D3 dramatically increases your body's absorption of calcium, but it has no control over where that calcium ends up. As we covered earlier, This is where vitamin K2 becomes absolutely essential. Think of K2 as the traffic cop that directs all that incoming calcium into your bones and teeth, while keeping it out of your arteries and soft tissues. Taking D3 without K2 is a job half done and can create other problems. They must always work as a team. For most adults, a daily intake of 2,000 to 4,000 IU of vitamin D3 is a safe and effective starting point, though getting your levels tested is the only way to know your precise need. And remember, D3 is fat-soluble. Taking it on an empty stomach is pointless. You must take it with a source of healthy fat, a handful of nuts, some avocado, or with a meal containing olive oil, to ensure your body can actually absorb and use it. You now have the complete picture. See it as that orchestra we mentioned. Vitamin D3 is the conductor, tapping the baton to signal the start. The B vitamins provide the energy and maintain the neural wiring for the musicians. Magnesium allows for the dynamic tension and release in their performance. And vitamin K2 ensures the concert hall itself, your bones and arteries, remains in pristine condition. Taking just one of these is like hearing a single instrument practice alone. Combining them all is how you create a symphony of strength, restoring the power and stability you deserve. The blueprint is complete, and the music is yours to play.